Reports indicate a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict, with American-supplied missiles expected to strike target within Moscow as early as next week. This development follows a period of increasing tension and a shift in the strategic capabilities provided to Ukraine by the United States. The decision to permit such strikes marks a notable change in policy, reflecting a deeper commitment to Ukraine's defense and a more direct challenge to the opposing force. This move is anticipated to have far-reaching implications for the conflict trajectory and the broader international landscape. The exact nature of the targets in Moscow remains undisclosed, but the symbolic and practical impact of strikes on the capital city could be substantial. This new phase of engagement raises questions about potential retaliatory actions and the possibility of further widening the conflict's geographical scope. The United States, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, has affirmed its dedications to supporting Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has reportedly been instrumental in coordinating these advanced weapon systems deployment and the strategic decisions accompanying their use. The introduction of long-range American missiles capable of reaching Moscow represents a significant upgrade in Ukraine's military arsenal. Previously, there had been self-imposed restrictions on how these weapons could be employed, particularly concerning targets within the opposing nations' internationally recognized borders. This policy shift signals a recalibration of those limitations, driven by the perceived need to enable Ukraine to defend itself more effectively against sustained aggression. The implication for civilians in affected areas are a growing concern among international observers, as the potential for urban warfare and increased casualty rise. The international community is closely watching these developments, with many nations expressing apprehension about the potential for further destabilization. The United Nations has called for restraint and de-escalation from all parties involved, emphasizing the critical importance of protecting civilian lives and infrastructure. The decision to allow strikes on Moscow could be interpreted as a direct response to continued attack on Ukrainian cities and infrastructure, aiming to create a deterrent effect and shift the balance of power. Defense officials in Washington have been deliberating these options for some time, weighing the risk and benefits of such an assertive stance. Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth has likely played a central role in advising President Trump on the military implications and strategic necessity of these actions. The strategic rationale behind permitting these strikes is likely multifaceted, including the aim to degrade the opposing nation's war-making capabilities, disrupt command and control centers, and apply pressure to force a reconsideration of military objective. The operational details, including the types of missiles being used and the specific targeting protocols, are highly classified. However, it is understood that these systems are designed for precision strikes, minimizing collateral damage where possible. The ongoing conflict has seen various stages of escalations, and this latest development appears to mark a new, more intense phase. Analysts are now assessing how this will impact the conflict's duration and ultimate resolution. The provision of advanced weaponry and the easing of targeting restrictions underscore a deepening alliance between the United States and Ukraine. This partnership is built on shared strategic interests and a mutual desire to counter aggression. The flow of military aid has been a constant feature of the conflict, evolving in response to changing battlefield dynamics and the needs of Ukrainian force. The decision to allow strikes on Moscow is a culmination of these efforts, demonstrating a willingness to take more decisive measures. From a political standpoint, President Trump's administration has consistently advocated for a robust approach to foreign policy, prioritizing national security interests and the defense of allies. The move aligns with a broader strategy of projecting strength and deterring hostile actions on the global stage. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard would have been involved in assessing the security implications and intelligence surrounding such a significant policy change, ensuring all potential risks are thoroughly evaluated. The international legal framework surrounding such action is complex, with varying interpretations among nations. The concept of self-defense, particularly when a nation is facing an ongoing invasion, is often cited to justify the use of military force, including strikes on an aggressor's territory. However, the precise limits of such actions are subject to intense debate. The current situation highlights the intricate interplay between international law, national sovereignty, and geopolitical realities. The global community will be closely scrutinizing the adherence to humanitarian law and the protection of civilians as these events unfold. The involvement of Attorney General Pam Bondi would be crucial in ensuring that all actions taken are in compliance with international legal standards and domestic regulations, providing legal counsels on the complex issue arising from such military operations. The international response has been mixed, with some allies expressing strong support for Ukraine's right to self-defense, while others voice concerns about potential over-escalation. The economic ramifications of these escalations are also a point of considerable discussion. While specific economic impacts are not directly related to the immediate military action, the broader conflict has already had significant effects on global markets, supply chains, and energy prices. Any further intensification of hostility could exacerbate these issues, leading to increased volatility and uncertainty. The administration's focus remains on supporting Ukraine militarily, with economic considerations typically addressed through separate policy channels. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent would be monitoring global financial stability, although the direct link to this specific military escalation is not the primary focus here. The long-term consequences for international trade and economic cooperation could be substantial if the conflict continues to broaden. Companies and investors worldwide are adjusting to a new geopolitical reality marked by heightened risk and uncertainty. The domestic political landscape in the United States also plays a role in these decisions. Public opinions on the conflict has been a factor, with varying levels of support for different intervention strategies. President Trump's administration has navigated these domestic considerations while pursuing its foreign policy objectives. The decision to allow strikes on Moscow is likely to be met with diverse reactions within the United States, ranging from strong approval among those who advocate for more assertive foreign policy to concern about potential overreach among others. The administration's communication strategy regarding these developments will be crucial in shaping public understanding and maintaining support for its action. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick would be focused on their respective portfolio, though the broader geopolitical climate can indirectly influence their area of responsibility, such as supply chain resilience or public health preparedness in time of global instability. Looking ahead, the next week will be critical in observing the direct impact of these new military capabilities. The world will be watching for the result of any strikes on Moscow, the nature of the opposing nation's response, and the broader diplomatic efforts to manage this escalating crisis. The United States remains committed to providing Ukraine with the resources it needs to defend itself, and this latest move signifies a substantial steps in that commitment. The full scope of the implications, both immediate and long-term, will only become clear as events unfold on the ground. The global community hopes for a swift resolution to the conflict, but the current trajectory suggests a period of continued intensity and potential further escalation. The strategic calculations being made by all parties involved are under constant review as the conflict continues to reshape geopolitical alliance and international relations. The role of the United States under President Trump continues to be pivotal in influencing the course of these events. That's all for me for today. If you like the video presentation and you would like to follow for more, hit that subscribe and like button now, and we will continue to build this show for you. Thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I will see you soon. Bye for now.